Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 437. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. I'm in my kind of mobile setup right now, so please excuse the bad audio quality. I'm going to work on making it better for next week, but I still have some tweaking to do. It's a very, very temporary setup I have going here because I'm in the middle of moving. Anyway, this week on the show, we'll be taking a look at the body horror film A Banquet, which is out now on VOD platforms. We'll also be going over some of what we're watching on the watch list, and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a moment. That'd be very helpful. New Saved by the 90s has been recorded. It is in the can. Just have to go through editing now, and I'm hoping to have it done by the end of this month. So maybe drop it early next week. The theme is production. So we're looking at 4 movies that involve TV, radio, and film production. So those include Quiz Show, Radioland Murders, Matinee, and the Late Shift. So some interesting ones there, including one of those ones is flat out the worst movie that I've seen since we started the show.
Really?
It was a god-awful nightmare that I just wanted to be over. So I'll let you all guess which one that was. All right, let's talk about A Banquet. This is directed by Ruth Paxton. I have a synopsis here. A widowed mother is radically tested when her teenage daughter insists a supernatural experience has left her body in service to a higher power. Kevin, we'll start it with you. What were your initial impressions of A Banquet?
Oof, boy. We're recording later than what we normally do. That was to buy myself some time to see if I could muster up anything to say.
You had to process this one, boy. Yeah. There was so much that you had to get. You just had to figure it all out.
I sat in a room by myself, just soaking in it, trying to formulate my opinion on it. But in the process of doing that, I forgot every single thing about this movie. This is going to be it. I mean, this is one of those films that just occupies that space, of films that when you ask me like 2 years from now, you'll say Banquet, you saw it. And I'll be like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Because this is not going to stick at all. There's just nothing about it. This is a no burn. The old dreaded no burn. And man, it was a rough watch for me.
I had a really hard time with this one as well. I think that it did have a number of things going for it. I think that as far as like body horror goes, there were a couple. It's not even really a body horror. Like, it's a very, very light body horror movie, I would say.
Yeah.
Basically, what you have here is this teenager who she goes to a party. She sees something. There's like a blood moon that's going on. She goes into the woods. She sees something, and then she just doesn't eat anymore. And she doesn't get hungry. She doesn't lose weight. She just doesn't eat. And the whole time I'm thinking like, wow, that would be great if I financially speaking, if you just didn't have to eat anymore. Like, you just have
time too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I would also like to say that the mom though made some exquisite dinners. Wow.
She was bringing her A game, and it seemed like she was trying to utilize that as maybe to get her to start eating. If you make this more appealing, if I really bring my stuff, surely she'll eat. But after a certain point, I would think like you would just dial it back.
Yeah.
Because she's not eating. She hasn't been eating for like 8 months. So it's just like, you don't have to bring your A game every night.
I don't know. It seemed like she genuinely liked to cook, and then there was the other daughter too. You don't want to.
That's true.
You don't want to
That's
just
true.
leave the other daughter in the lurch. Cooking Kraft mac and cheese. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like she doesn't eat, and
Yeah.
they try to figure out what's going on, and eventually she reveals what the synopsis says here, where it's like there's some sort of like higher power or something going on here, and yeah, it not a lot to talk about here with this movie. The ending is not surprising or revelatory in any way. I should have mentioned this at the top of this review, but we do have a written review for this up on the site. Chris reviewed this for us, and he gave it a 6.5 out of 10, which I think is like really generous.
Extremely generous, yes. And especially reading his review, I couldn't reconcile the two between the words and that number score.
I think he was a little bit generous. I mean, like visually, it was fine. It was decent looking. I liked what they did with kind of the creepy food stuff, where they made even like really appetizing looking meals kind of disgusting, and like because they would do that like extreme close up into the food and like elevate all of the sounds so you can just hear every like little squish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was
not a fan.
No. And actually I was eating lunch when I watched this, and there was one scene that, and this rarely happens to me, where I couldn't continue eating during that scene or several minutes after. And it was the scene where and this is not like a spoiler or anything, I'm not going to like give away major details about the context, but there's a scene where like there's kind of like rotten food that's involved. And for whatever reason, the fact that she looked all like greasy, like her face was like oily and greasy, like it was just so, and just the extreme close-ups that they were utilizing was very nauseating. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna have to put this down. Gonna have to put down my sandwich here for a little bit.
Oh, no, interrupted sandwich time.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It was just a few minutes. I picked it back up like probably by the next scene.
You got right back in that sandwich.
I did, yeah. I mean,
I gotta imagine that the sandwich was the far more memorable.
It was, because I ordered from Subway, and it's just a ham and cheese sub. I was just looking for something quick, and they added like 20 pieces of ham on this. Like, it was unbearable, the amount of ham that they added in this sandwich. So yes, the sandwich was more memorable than the movie just because of the volume of ham added. I had to take half of it off, more than half. I had to take more than half of it off.
A wealth of ham.
It was like a joke. I felt like somebody was pranking me. Like the person who the person who was preparing this. Yeah. The person who was preparing this at Subway was clearly pranking me. Like, I'm going to give this guy, oh, you want a ham sandwich? I'll give you a ham sandwich, buddy. And he just loaded it up.
The making of your ham sandwich is probably a viral video on TikTok or something.
Probably.
It's just a guy just keeps adding. He's like, how to make a ham sub at Subway. Add ham, add ham, add ham. And it just does that for like the next 2 minutes. And then you got the end result.
That would be so funny, though, if I was just scrolling through TikTok and I saw my exact sandwich being made.
That's the fucking sandwich.
I actually did see a very funny TikTok recently that took place in the Subway, where it was a guy who was making a sandwich, and he's like, oh, do you want it toasted? And he's like, yeah, I want it toasted. And he toasts it, and he pulls it out. He's like, can you make it a little bit more toasted? And he puts it in again. And he's like, can you make it a little bit more toasted again? And he just kept asking the guy to put it back in and toast it more until it came out completely black.
Oh, God. Shit.
Yeah. So A Banquet is, there's a couple interesting things. I do like the main character, what's her name? Jessica Alexander. She was in that movie that I spoke about. I saw it called Glass House. I can't remember what festival I saw that
Okay,
in.
yeah,
She was really good in that too, and I think she was quite good in this. But that's doesn't necessarily save the
yeah,
overall plot from just being just it's so minimal, so little to really grasp onto here.
yeah. It was just for me. I got in terms of the plot and the narrative. I'm just waiting for something to happen. Like the initial setup, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I see where we go with this. But I felt like they never really went anywhere with it, and then it just all of a sudden stops. It just
No, I mean,
ends.
and that's the thing is like the setup is kind of intriguing. Like, oh well, why? What did she see in the woods? Why does she no longer need to eat? Like, where's this all going to go? But unfortunately, where it does go is a bit of a wet noodle. It just
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't
And
it
I mean
doesn't go
they
anywhere.
no, and I mean they add some stuff. They add some elements to it. Uh, Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff was just like too late, too little, too late for me. But even then, it still was like, okay, well, there's still a chance that something's gonna happen. You know, you find out more about like when her grandma shows up and kind of shares a memory of her as a child, and you're
Mm-hmm,
like, oh, okay, so she has a history of, of, of a certain activity, you know, okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then you find out a little bit more about the mother, and you're like, okay, well, there's still it seems like something's coming together here, you know? Like we're slowly getting there. But again, it just stops. And there's one scene um, where there's some good effects, and that's really the only scene that like had anything that I felt was remotely engaging. But at the same time, it felt completely uh, like it just didn't fit with what they were doing with this movie. It felt like an excuse to show a little, you know, cool special effect, and then that's it. And we're
Mm-hmm.
done. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, you have all that that's just not working for me at all. And then the cinematography of this thing is just so unbelievably generic and just nothing. Didn't work at all. The sound design, the score, all those aspects just did nothing for me at all. The performances are like okay, they're serviceable. It's just nothing here was engaging in any way.
I agree. Yeah. Just yeah, not feeling it unfortunately. So, yeah, this did not work for me.
No, and I just like, and I'm still trying to like figure out what what it is. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what any of it means.
Yeah, I don't
I
I don't know either. I mean, maybe I missed some allegory or something. Initially it seemed like it was going to be about eating disorders, but because there was
yeah,
the
and
whole thing, like the whole thing that happens in the opening scene when the father dies by I don't know if it's a spoiler. It happens in the opening scene, but he
yeah,
consumes something, and I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe that's why she develops this eating disorder, or what is this thing that represents an eating disorder.
yeah.
But
And you're thinking like, okay, maybe trauma, maybe
mhm.
the stress. And I kept waiting for like something to connect it all, and I just feel like nothing got connected, or there was even an attempt to connect anything, or maybe I just completely because there was also that because it was so difficult for me to engage with like as a whole. I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, surely I missed something. Like I must have just like blacked out, you know, like my eyes just went blank and my mind just wandered and I completely missed like something very important. And I kept thinking that like, like every 10 minutes, I'm like, surely I missed something. I had to. but I don't know if I did, honestly. Maybe I did. I
I
don't know.
don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you missed it, I missed it too. I feel like there wasn't a whole lot to miss. I mean, it all felt pretty straightforward, but I don't know.
I don't understand the scale, like the logistics of it, like what they were. Just it just none of it worked. Just none of it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go ahead and give it a score. What are you going to give A Banquet out of 10?
I give A Banquet 2.
I'm at a 3 on this one. That is available now on VOD. I think IFC Midnight is the one. They're the ones who put that out. Let's move on and talk about someone watching. I started the week off with The Cursed, which is playing now in theaters. Actually, this was a theatrical release, directed by Sean Ellis, and this is kind of a folk horror. You know, it's kind of still hopping on that folk horror trend. This is a little bit different in that there's significantly more action to it. Basically, what you have here is these douchebag landowners who steal the land from these gypsies, and they end up like killing everybody in the gypsy camp. And they before they get killed, they curse the families of the people who did this, and it kind of turns into like a werewolf type thing. It's decent. There's some pretty good creature effects in here. Pretty gory. It's weird that this was in theaters. It feels more like a VOD release, but the I guess maybe the production value is a little bit higher than what you see on a lot of VOD releases, but I don't know. Kind of middle of the road for me.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah.
Mm. I saw the Oscar nominated Lee,
Hmm.
directed by Jonas Perd Rasmussen,
Mm-hmm.
the animated like quasi documentary type deal. Have you seen this? Have you seen Flea?
I haven't. I believe it was Ken who I think it was on the year end podcast when he talked about this.
Mm. Yeah, so it's available on Hulu now. So I checked this out. This is one of those things, one of those movies that I feel like is like you can't really critique it. You know, it's a pretty straightforward documentary where this guy Amin, who came to Denmark as an unaccompanied minor from Afghanistan, and he's kind of had this secret his entire life, that the secret that he had to perpetuate in order to gain asylum to be in Denmark. So now he's older, he's very successful, he's getting ready to get married to his longtime boyfriend. So a friend of his, the filmmaker, they decide together that he's gonna go over his story. He's finally gonna let everyone know what exactly happened. So this is really tough for him to go through, and essentially uh, they do animation is in order to like to mask who he is. Doesn't use the real names, everything like that. So a lot of it is just animated, like him being interviewed by his friend. So there's that going on in the present day, obviously. And then when he's talking about the past, it's animated, you know, kind of like a visual interpretation of what the past was for him. It's a really affecting story. It's enthralling, and it keeps you hooked. And it's a hell of a story. I mean, Jesus Christ. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm just like, it was good. It's just like it didn't wow me in any way.
Hmm. Okay. That is Flea, available now on Hulu, Flee. I saw the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which dropped on Netflix this past weekend. It's bad. It's directed by David Blue Garcia. I had no expectations going into it, so I really didn't. I wasn't surprised that it was not good. Maybe the premise is kind of okay. So what you have here is a group of 20 somethings who they buy a town. Basically, they buy the entire town. It's like, because it's a ghost town. It was abandoned. So they buy it up and they're gonna revitalize it. They're gonna turn it into this like kind of hipster mecca. And turns out one of the houses that they buy is Leatherface's house. It's where Leatherface is living. Now, the premise of this one is, or like sort of where it fits in the timeline. They did what they did on the latest Halloween reboot, where they kind of retconned the whole thing, and only the first one is canon. So they did away with all the other sequels.
Mm-hmm.
And Leatherface is living in this like orphanage, and the original woman who survived the first film, she comes back and attempts to. She's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Sally is the character's name, played by Olwen Fiore. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Apologies. It's just not good. No good.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It's really gory. It's really gory. I'll give it that. I mean, there's a lot of severed limbs and really graphic kills in this, but it's just nothing. There's just nothing special. It's, at the end of the day, it's just a really generic. It's a really generic slasher movie, and comparing this to like the remake, the original Texas Chainsaw remake that I think came out in like 2003, the Michael Bay produced one. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was so much better than this. Like at least with that one, there were some really interesting visuals with it. Like the cinematography was there was some really crazy stuff in that original remake. I think, and I think that it's starting to get more credit now than it did back when it came out, but there's some wild stuff in that one. And, but this one is just so generic. None of the characters are particularly memorable or likable. The ending is kind of interesting. I think that's probably the best part, is the final shot, the final scene that happens. That is kind of, it harkens back to the original.
I think it's time for Terrence Hill, Bud Spencer.
Oh, talking about some odds and evens, huh?
You got to see this. Whoever's listening, you got to see it. Got to check it out. I think the first thing that jumped out to me that got me pretty excited for this is it's Sergio Corbucci is the director, the guy that made The Great Silence and Django. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be something else. And then watching this movie, it's a fucking mess, but it kind of in a good way. But it also feels like it's a Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer movie, obviously. But it feels like it's 20 of those, and they just picked some scenes from each one and just put them on shuffle.
I really wonder if there's some kind of translation thing that's happening here or something, because this movie makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like the whole time I'm just like, wait a minute. Like, okay, they were strangers when they met each other. Now they keep calling each other brother. And then there was like that one guy that's like pretending to be their dad, but he's not their dad. And he was like pretending to be blind, but he's not blind. And it just, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. But that didn't necessarily detract from it for me.
No,
I still
no,
had
it helped.
I still had a blast because you don't know what's coming next. You're just like, oh, what is next? What could possibly? Oh, all of a sudden he's an ice cream. He's selling ice cream now. Like I guess Bud Spencer, that's like one of his side gigs. And then all of a sudden, oh wait, he's a highlight player now. Like what is going on?
To be the most incredible thing I've ever seen, because before the highlight sequence, and the highlight sequence comes at the end of a long procession of them just doing stuff, gambling wise, just trying stuff out. They're doing demolition derbies, all sorts of shit. So you finally get to the highlight thing. But I like that what precedes it is him, Bud Spencer, going to visit a buddy of his that is just an absolute shit shape. I mean, this guy is just a fucking mess. He's got a beer belly. Like his legs barely even work. He has to wear a wig because he's balding. Like, there's no way in hell that you look at this guy and you're thinking, well, he's a highlight player, definitely. But that's what ends up happening is Bud Spencer wears the guy's wig and stands in for him.
Yeah.
And plays as him, which Bud Spencer does not have the build for highlight. Like, he would not succeed in highlight. But this is the Terrence Hill Bud Spencer world. So, of course, he's a fucking master at it. And just him wearing the ridiculous outfit, and then when he would cut to his character doing something athletic, and you could clearly see that it was a scrawny guy wearing like a bunch of pillows. It was incredible. I mean, my God, this movie is, and I wanted to go back because when they first introduced Terrence Hill, which again, completely bonkers, he's in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a lieutenant. But I'm pretty sure that they did not call him Furpo. And then at some point, he's just Furpo. And they're brothers. And I'm so confused.
Yeah, I also want to go back and rewatch this because there's something to it here. Like I feel like I missed something. There's so bonkers. Much.
And then all of a sudden, like he's kind of losing him, and he's like, "Brother," and it's like, "Wait, what? You guys are brothers now?" And then he tricks him with the dad thing. So I thought that the whole thing was just this elaborate ruse from Terrence Hill, because that's what he seems to be doing with everyone, is he tricks people. And I thought, well, man, this is an elaborate one. He's essentially got Bud Spencer thinking that he's his brother, and this is his dad.
But none of
this is insane. But then towards the end, they're like, both of their last names are Furpo, and they're brothers. And it's like, wait, did they just believe it so much that his last name changed and they became related?
I have no idea. And also, like, it was like Terrence Hill immediately forgot his mission. Like yes. he just threw that whole thing to the wayside. Like he just wants to become friends with Bud Spencer and get him to gamble, I guess. Like it's just so none of it, like the whole mission thing with him trying to manipulate him into like exposing this mob activity and stuff, like none of that makes any sense either.
No. And it is really interesting because you're right. And I love this about these Hill and Spencer movies, because it seems like that's the gist of all of them, is Terrence Hill wants to be buddies with Bud Spencer, and Bud Spencer wants nothing to do with the guy.
He just wants some beans and onions.
That's all he wants. He just wants to eat his beans and he wants to eat his beans and onions, order an entire cake, and just be left alone. But then, through the power of them slapping people in the face and hitting people with sticks and bonking them, they end up becoming like the best of friends. Such good friends that they actually become blood related. And it actually affects the entire timeline of reality. And it's incredible. And he's got an apple that has antenna that communicates with dolphins. He can speak Dolphinese, but Spencer can speak Seagullese. Like, This movie is just fucking insane.
It is. I was a little worried because when we started this whole thing, I was like, oh man, like maybe the rest of them aren't gonna be, to my liking. Like maybe it's just that the first one, the Watch Out We're Mad, like. But
yeah,
I think
off at the pinnacle.
Yeah, but I think Odds and Evens has proven to me that there is plenty more fun to be had with these two.
I think this one got closer to Watch Out We're Mad in that the slapstick's really good. I enjoyed the slapstick. Like, it's just so ridiculous that it ends up becoming absolutely hilarious because they're just doing so much. It's just constantly them doing.
It's just set piece after set piece. Yeah, like everything is an excuse to showcase some kind of weird set piece. Be it, a race or just a fight or whatever.
Yeah,
highlight.
It's incredible. Yeah, highlight. Come on. I mean, he's playing football in the Army-Navy game, and then immediately he's boat racing.
the boat race. Yep.
And I particularly enjoyed that a lot of the comedy in this one is just downright stupid, and I loved it. I love that Terrence Hill somehow gets himself into a horse carriage race, even though he's way too big to be a jockey. But he does it, and the guy that he's racing beside is like, "Hey, you're not so-and-so." He's like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "Yell out my name, see if I respond." So the guy's like, "Hey, Sal." And he's like, "Yeah, see? I'm Sal."
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god. Fucking
Odds and Evens. Sal. Check it out. I can't wait for the next one.
It's so, and then incorporate the comedy into like the choreographed fighting and slapping and everything. It's so dumb. Just dumb as hell. And I love it.
Yep. 100% agree. All right. I saw Licorice Pizza finally. The Paul Thomas Anderson. I loved it. It was great. I suspected that this would have had a place on my top 10. It definitely would have. I don't know if it would have been like number 1, but top 5 certainly. It's just a fun, lighthearted comedy, and I had a great time with it. Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman do a great job. I mean, these are people who Cooper Hoffman, I think this is his debut. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, and Alana Haim is I don't know if she's done much acting in the past either, but they do a great job. You have a really great supporting cast here, lots of fun cameos, like Sean Penn, who plays this completely off his rocker like celebrity. Tom Waits in there, Bradley Cooper, who plays another like completely insane. He plays the boyfriend of Barbra Streisand. Benny Safdie's in here in a role that he's like I can't remember. He's running for office, I believe. I can't remember if it's like mayor or Congress or something. But it's definitely not a role that I would expect him to be in. So lots of great performances, lots of great music in this. I loved the cinematography. It had a very kind of vintage 70s look to it. And I can highly recommend Licorice Pizza. It was a great time.
See if I ever watch this thing.
I don't know if you will. I don't know
I don't know what it is. I just can't muster any like excitement for this. I don't know why.
It's a very kind of slight film that just kind of washes over you. I mean, it's over 2 hours long and a lot happens, but it's all just kind of, just kind of meanders, and it is what it is. And you just spend some time with some likable characters, and they get into some shenanigans, and there's a lot of waterbeds. Like Cooper Hoffman, he plays a 15-year-old child actor in here, and he's a real entrepreneur. He's a go-getter, and he ends up opening a waterbed store. He's only 15, but he opens up a waterbed store. And so a large portion of the movie is them like selling waterbeds and setting up waterbeds in celebrities' homes and stuff. It's great.
I might watch it.
I saw 2 movies by Penelope Spheris. These are movies of hers that I've been meaning to watch forever and just never got around to it. And I was just kind of looking for something to watch. And, I was like, you know what? I'm going to check Tubi. I'm going to check the old Tubi. And lo and behold, pretty much like every Penelope Spheris movie that she made is on Tubi. So I started off with Suburbia from 1983. This is a great movie. It's pretty wild. So it follows a group of kind of like a ragtag group of misfits. They're all like punk kids, and they're living in this abandoned house. There's this like housing development that was bought by the county and then abandoned, and it's just sort of them trying to live their lives, going to punk shows, being wild, getting into scraps, fighting, trying to get away from the cops, and the people of the town think that they're all like weirdos and freaks, outcasts. The movie opens with an infant being murdered by a dog, being attacked and killed by a dog, which is insane. And there's like multiple child deaths that happen in this movie that are like pretty shocking because it doesn't necessarily fit the tone. But and the opening with the kid getting killed by the dog is just really out of left field. Like it doesn't really fit the theme of well, maybe a little bit, but it's shocking. It's a shocking way to open a movie. So yeah, Suburbia is great. I can definitely recommend that. And again, it's on Tubi. Another one that's on Tubi. This one just auto-played right after Suburbia, and I just let it roll, man. I was like, all right, we're in it. What do you got for me? And that's Hollywood Vice Squad from 1986. This one was awesome too. Again, Penelope Spheris. This is sort of a supposedly it takes real, true cases of the Vice Squad and sort of presents them in this movie where there's kind of like an overarching narrative, but then they do like these kind of smaller busts where they're like going after prostitutes and drug dealers and stuff like that. Carrie Fisher's in this. She plays one of the undercover Vice Squad cops, and so is Joey Travolta. I enjoyed this one. This is also kind of tonally off. Like some of it feels a little goofy, but a lot of it feels very serious, but I had a good time with it nonetheless. It is kind of all over the place. It's very messy. Like they'll go one place with it, and you'll think that this is where the movie's going to go, but then they'll like abandon that or just throw that aside and then go to this other like larger case that they're working on, and it's just kind of just very, very frantic, just all over the place, but still a good time. Good 80s crime action movie. And Penelope Spheris, man, she's a really great director, and I feel like the industry just did her dirty, and she ended up leaving. She left the industry because they dicked her over. It was I think a Weinstein thing happened where I think he like blacklisted her or something.
Not surprising.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. Only one to mention, and that's Studio 666, which is it's a horror comedy from the Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
Incredible.
It's going to be at theaters.
Wow.
They're just desperate, man. They're just desperate to get whatever they can into theaters these days.
Yeah.
This looks atrocious.
Yeah, this a lot of bad ideas, it seems like.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for theaters. On VOD this week, on the 22nd, we have Hard Hit. It looks like a crime thriller, maybe. We got Dunk or Die. That's a documentary about slam dunking.
About slam dunking.
Yeah.
This guy says about slam dunking.
Yeah. It's the triumphant story of France's slam dunk superstar, Kador Ziani.
A slam dunk superstar.
Yeah. Give or take. Is that it sounds like a rom-com. Let's see.
It's about slam dunking.
Looks like a rom-com. We have Beowulf, which is it's kind of like a take on Beowulf, I think.
Gotcha. But it's about slam dunking.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We got Hellbender coming out on the 24th on Shudder.
Nice.
Definitely recommend that. Then on Friday, the 25th, we have Strawberry Mansion. Recommend that too.
Indeed.
It's the Albert Burney, Kentucker Audley.
That's two good movies coming out.
Mm-hmm. The Burning Sea. That looks like something about an oil field disaster, maybe. We also have I'll Find You. This is a romance movie. We got The Desperate Hour with Naomi Watts. Riveting and pulse-pounding thriller. So look out for that. We got Big Gold Brick. Big Gold Brick recounts the story of fledgling writer Samuel Liston and his experiences with Floyd Devereaux, the enigmatic middle-aged father of two, who enlists Samuel to write his biography.
Interesting. This seems...
Andy Garcia, Oscar Isaac, Megan Fox, from the looks of it.
Yeah, this is one of those things that just looking at the poster and the cast here, I feel like this movie was made a while ago.
Could be, yeah.
It's just now getting really this was made back in 2017.
Yeah, could be. Let's see. We have Creation Stories also coming out. This is the biopic about Alan McGee, who is the guy who created the record label that had like Oasis on it, and he was one of the kind of people who spearheaded that whole kind of, I don't know what you would call it, the second British invasion during the 90s, when like Oasis and Blur and all those bands started exploding. It's bad. It's very bad, actually.
Gotcha.
We got Family Squares coming out. This, I believe, is it's a family drama, but I think that it all takes place on Zoom. It's like a video chat type movie. We got Gasoline Alley coming out with Devon Sawa.
Ooh.
Yeah, Devon Sawa, Bruce Willis, and Luke Wilson.
Wow. Incredible cast.
Sawa's making a comeback, man. He's been cranking them out lately. He's on that Chucky show on Sci-Fi, and he's been in a whole bunch of movies. So I feel like he's making a comeback. Somebody needs to give him like something really meaty for him to really just break through.
Yeah, Gasoline Alley.
Maybe that's the one. I doubt it. This is a Saban Films release, so I would probably guess that it's middling at best, but who knows? Finally, we have Let Me Be Me, which is I believe, a documentary about an autistic young man who is like really into fashion design, and he like becomes a fashion designer. Yeah. On Netflix, we got Restless coming out. That's on the 25th. We got Tyler Perry's A Medea Homecoming.
Oh boy.
Yeah. On I missed one here on the 23rd on Netflix. There's 11M Terror in Madrid, which looks to be a documentary. Blu-ray this week, we got Alligator from 1980 that's coming out in 4K. Green Mile is getting a 4K release. Night of the Demon from 1980. Escape from LA from 1996 getting a 4K release. Drop Dead Fred from 1991 is getting a limited edition release. It's got a really great cover.
Classic.
This is Vinegar Syndrome. Is putting this out.
Wow.
Yeah. Man on the Moon getting a new Blu-ray release. Hurt Locker coming out in 4K. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy 4K. King's Man is coming out. I was gonna watch that today. That's on HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max. Sorry, I was looking at this Drop Dead Fred.
It's a good cover, isn't it?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
The King's Man is out on HBO Max right now.
Oh boy, watch out.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't clamoring to see it, but
you had that shit penciled in on your calendar.
It's probably a fun watch, but certainly wasn't something that I needed to see in theaters. Bloody Pit of Horror from 1965. Black Candles from 1982. These are Vinegar Syndrome. Alligator 2: The Mutation from 1991. Hard Target getting a new 4K release. Recommend that. House of Gucci coming out. That was not great. Wasn't horrible. Sister from 1987. Beware Children at Play from 1989. That's the Trauma movie. I believe that was either the first or second. It was one of the very first movies that we had Ryan watch.
Without a doubt.
It had to be. It was definitely first 5 episodes, but it might. Yeah,
first
it might.
6. It's got to at least be first 6.
Yeah. We got Wolfpack from 1987. Sharon and then Terry's Revenge. Sharon/Terry's Revenge from 1977. I guess they're 2 different movies. I'm not sure what those are all about. They look like maybe they're like softcore porn movies, but I'm not sure. We got Side Out from 1990. That looks like some kind of teen sex comedy, maybe. Deadly Games from 1982. Lies and Deceit. 5 films by Claude Chabrol. It's going to be out on Arrow. It's an Arrow box set. Bilitis from 1977. Not sure what that's all about. That looks like it might be like some kind of porn too. It's a limited edition. What is Bilitis? Fun City Editions.
How do you even spell that? I've never heard this as a word.
Oh, it's a Vinegar Syndrome. Okay. Bilitis. The story takes place in England around the beginning of the 20th century, sensually exploring a young schoolgirl's awakening to love during her summer vacation. Sounds like a exploitation to me.
Yep.
Jeez, there's a lot of stuff coming out this week. The Devil's Men from 1976. Voices from 1974. Chomps from 1979. What is this? Is this a dog cop that I'm looking at here? Is this a movie about a dog cop?
Please.
It's the world's first computerized watchdog. So it's a robot.
Oh my god.
It's a robot dog cop.
Oh, you gotta be. Invents a robot dog that has super strength, X-ray vision, and can detect crimes being committed.
Okay.
And it's on Tubi. Where else do you think you would find it?
Well, I'm adding it to my watch list right now. So
that fucker's on Tubi. Not surprised.
Of course it's on Tubi. I'm telling you, man. Like, we made fun of Tubi a lot back when it started to become a thing, but now it's quickly becoming my number 1 streaming service.
It's fucking go-to.
Girlfriend from... Yeah. Like, there's just so much on it. Like, there's so much. Anyway.
They got chops.
Yeah. Girlfriend from Hell from 1989. Harry and the Hendersons from 1987. Harry and the Hendersons. A Suitable Job for a Woman from 1982. Cold War Creatures. 4 films from Sam Katzman. It's another Arrow release. Dead and Buried from 1981 is getting a Blue Underground release. I mean, it's too much. I'm going to end it there because there's just too much stuff.
He's done.
Yeah, those are pretty much the biggies anyway. A lot of other re-releases and stuff like that. What about Criterion's?
Oh, we have one, and that's Boat People. Man Who from 1982. I've been wanting to see this one for a while, so I'm pretty excited about this.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet or @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That would be much appreciated. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.